There was a great commotion, and suddenly, at Chad's command, the 10 men surrounded Chase. The atmosphere was tense. From behind the wall of men, Chase could see Chad sneering. He fumed silently to himself. He is going to pay for this. Just as the 10 men were about to attack him, a woman came running up to him at lightning speed. She was shouting, "What's going on here?" Jessica frowned as she assessed the situation. She had been working at her office in the hotel region just a few minutes ago when she'd received a phone call from the restaurant's manager, who said that Chase was in a physical conflict with another restaurant guest. She hung up the phone flustered. She had immediately rushed downstairs to the hotel's restaurant. The last time she'd seen him was when she learned about his identity, who he really was. The whole idea of him getting into a fight on the hotel's grounds terrified her. How could she not be afraid? Chase could make anyone disappear with a wave of his hand. What was going to stop him from bringing a lawsuit against one of her precious properties? If such a man as this were to be beaten up in the Victoria Room, not to mention the hotel regent, it was possible that no one would be unscathed. He could bring the entire business to the ground. She rushed to Chase, breaking through the line of men without a second thought, and began to apologize. "Mr. Rothman, I am so sorry. Security has not done their job properly. I've only learned now just of what was happening outside. Please rest assured, the restaurant and hotel are not in the habit of having their esteemed guests hurt while on the property. We will fix this." Chase threw a disgusted glance at Chad. He was lucky, he thought, that Jessica interrupted the scene. Otherwise, Chad and his men would have suffered greatly. He would have seen to it that the consequences for their actions were dire. Chad's recklessness had been foolish. Meanwhile, Celia, who was standing by the side of the scene, was shocked. "Mr. Rothman?" She thought to herself. "Why is this woman being so respectful to Chase?" At Mangan Makeup, she often interacted with the client's companies, and she was familiar with the Hotel Regent. The hotel had a standing contract to receive toiletries and complimentary makeup samples for their luxury suites. She knew that the family who owned the hotel was a big deal, and that they had ample financial resources at their disposal. In fact, they had always paid their contract in full at the time of signing, no matter what the cost was. Moreover, the reputation of the hotel in the hospitality and travel industries were very big. No one dared to cause trouble at the Hotel Regent, not even those whose businesses operated in the seedy heart of the city. She wondered again why such a powerful person was being so respectful to Chase. Her brows creased slightly as she ran through the many possibilities in her mind. Looking at him now, she felt like she was looking at a stranger. Was this person really her husband? With Jessica's arrival, Chase knew that the evening situation was only just getting started. He turned to Celia and said, "Leah, I know things may seem confusing right now, and we will talk about it and I'll explain everything to you. But right now, I need you to go inside and wait for me. Do not come out no matter what you see. I promise I'll tell you everything later." Celia stared into his eyes and saw only tenderness there. Although she was still worried and confused, she chose to believe him. With a sigh, she walked back inside the Hotel Regent to wait for him. After Celia was gone, Jessica turned to look at Chad and frowned. She said, "Mr. Manson, is it too much to ask for you not to cause trouble? How dare you bring so many people to our esteemed establishment with the sole purpose of causing Mr. Rothman harm?" Chad glanced at Jessica. He knew her background, and he also knew how she operated. Although her status was not as high as his, she wasn't someone you wanted to start a fight with unless you were prepared for the outcome. She was ferocious and relentless. However, what he couldn't understand was why someone like Jessica would run in to defend Chase of all people. "Mrs. Arnold, this man and I know each other, so I will just say it clearly. He provoked me, and I was defending myself. Anyone would have done the same in my situation. Jessica turned pale with fright when she heard Chad's words. A new money man such as Chad actually dared to call Chase of the Rothman family a... She loudly scolded. Mr. Manson, you better be polite when speaking to Mr. Rothman. Show some respect. Chad's eyes widened. Growing up with money in his pocket, he was only used to receiving respect. He had earned that right. But today, Jessica had scolded him on behalf of that Chase. He was furious. Are you crazy? He started to scream at her. Before he could blink, Jessica loudly said, Did you not hear me before? Was I too quiet? Chad could no longer hold it in. He flew into a rage. Well, good for you, Mrs. Arnold. Good for you, Chase. You two must think yourselves very powerful. If you're so brave, then let's put it to the test. He paused to let his words sink in before shouting, Doug, now! Instantly, Doug and his men made their move, floating quickly toward Chase like a swarm of bees. Simultaneously and without fear, Chase pulled out a phone and said rather casually into the receiver as if he was placing a takeout order. I want the Manson family destroyed. 10 minutes. Chad raised his hand and brought Doug and his men to a halt. He began to laugh. Chase, he chuckled. You're going to remove me and my family in 10 minutes from the city? You're such a nobody that I wouldn't even let you shine my father's shoes. How dare you make such accusations? Chad's eyes filled with disdain. Meanwhile, Chase went silent, his expression cold. Suddenly, the sound of a television program came roaring out from the hotel's bar. It was the local news. Chad, Chase, Jessica, and the men heard the program's breaking news. According to the station's source, a property owned by the Manson family has been violently demolished. Though these numbers may rise, an investigation has been opened. Chad stood there, listening to the program in disbelief. How could this be happening? And why now? Was it just a coincidence that Chase had placed that call? A month had passed since the property had been purposely demolished by his family's company. This news was true, but it had happened a month ago. Plus, his father had spent millions on a public relations campaign to improve the family's image and had hired people to cover up the evictions and deaths. Why was this information leaked suddenly public? His eyes locked onto Chase. I want the Manson family destroyed. 10 minutes.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.